Hello, everyone. Good morning. Am I audible? Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Hi. The meeting is already being recorded. Mitanshu, how is everyone? Good? Great. Just keep on putting some message in the chat so that I know that everyone is awake. No one is sleeping because it's Saturday morning. It's a lazy morning, right? But still, you all have chose to come here. It's a good thing. Like I think there are 44 participants who have joined in. I'm in college. Good. College is important, but I think this is also important. मतलब मुझे कुछ और कहना था, but I won't say that. Okay. So my name is Prakash Sakari. I work as SDE at Reliance Jio. I'm also a full stack mentor at Geeks for Geeks. Along with me, I have Ashish Jangra. Ashish, where are you?
Hi Prakash.
Hi.
Hi everyone. How are you?
I'm good, Ashish. How are you?
I'm good as well. Thanks for asking. Today as well, we are wearing the same t-shirt. It's just a coincidence, I think.
So he is Ashish. He is a data science mentor, a wonderful mentor at Geeks for Geeks. One of the, I think, good data science mentors that is there in the industry. Has wide experience in everything that you say, right? Whatever you say, he can basically do it for you. So I know, I believe all of you all know the agenda for today. That is, we're here to discuss about the hackathon that Geeks for Geeks has come up. So this is the second hackathon that Geeks for Geeks has come up with. The first one was in association with Google, right? This is a hackathon which we are doing solely on our own, right? So I'll just hand over everything to Ashish and then he'll take over from here.
Okay. Thanks, Prakash. So first of all, welcome to the session. And as you guys have already registered in the hackathon, and so now I'll just take you through how the hackathon works. This session is specifically about how you should proceed further with it. Okay. What are the data set that we are having? What are the things that we can make? So this is basically a brainstorming session. Okay. So some of the details are already mentioned on the page. Make sure to go with the details very carefully. Okay. And it is gonna end on 31st of July. So you are having like more than 20 days, almost 3 weeks to work on this. So this is basically a hackathon which is having both. It is having data science as well as web development. Okay. Now, because it is the collaboration of both, so because of that, you can make the teams, and some of you people might work on the data science part, might be good on the data science part, and some of you might be good in the web development part. So you guys can collaborate, and basically it will make an environment. It's basically simulation where you guys are going to work on a project exactly like companies are doing. Okay. So this will give you a great experience how things will work. Now, let me take you through how this. Okay. So here you can see once you have gone through the basic statements, okay, how this hackathon works, what are the things that you can make, how you can make the teams, what are the rules, themes, how you can submit, all the things are already there. Okay. Now, let me take you through the data set. Okay. And this data set about, like, you can go to this link. It's already mentioned on the page. So on this link, we are having medals.csv. This is one CSV file on which you are going to work. Okay. Now, how you are going to work with these CSV file? Let me download it so that you will have a better understanding of how to work on this. And we'll give you some ideas as well from where you can take the references, like for web development, for data science, how you can pre-process the data, analyze the data, and a lot of things you can do. So let me show you the data set first. Okay, I'm hoping the screen is visible to you. And this is the data set that we are having of medals.csv. Okay. And once you open this data set, you can see we are having different disciplines, the game when it is held, where it is, where it is held, and the event, which kind of game it is, the genders, if it is for mixed or for male or for female, which medal they won, the type of game, the participants, where they are from. We are also having the athlete's URL. Okay, this is like we will tell you how these things can be used in your project. Okay, though it's a hackathon, so the things are totally open to you, but we'll give you some of the ideas how you can make it, like, so that you will have a basic idea how thing works. Okay, athlete's full name is there, country name, country code, as well as the country title. Okay, and we are having this data of thousands of games happen. Okay, you can scroll it down and you can see what is the size of the data set. Now, the interesting part here is, apart from the data set, we are having the links of those players as well. So what we can do, if I'm copying this link, just want to give an idea, okay, and pasting it here. So this will open the details of the user. Okay, when he was born, and what are the other details that we are having. Some of the player, for some of the player, we might have the images as well. Okay, now what you can do, first of all, let's start with Prakash, sir. So they will tell you how the front end will look. Okay, from the web point of view, what are the things that they can make from this, and then I'll tell you in the data science point of view how the things can be done. Okay, so Prakash, over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Ashish. I think you can stop sharing the screen.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Right. So I hope everyone has an idea of what the hackathon is and what we're expecting for you. Does everyone has an idea? Just put it in the chat whether you have an idea or not about what the hackathon is all about and what we are expecting from you all. No. Okay. Whatever is the answer, either yes or either no, just put it in the chat. So both of us have basically both of us actually know from where we can take you all further ahead, right? Rather than we just deep diving into something and you're not understanding anything. It's better we have an idea. Okay, so I think a lot of people do not actually know what we are expecting from the hackathon. Okay, so let me just make this quite clear. So the hackathon that we're actually planning is basically combines two different domains together, right? One domain is web development, another domain is data science. So your team or you, okay, if you're participating individually, you can participate in individual as well. You can participate in a team as well, right, with a group of people. So either of the case, if you are participating individually or you have a team, people in your team or you should actually have knowledge of both the domains. You should have knowledge of what data science is, right? You should have knowledge of development as well, right? So basically the hackathon will actually revolve around these two things only, right? And the topic of the hackathon, the core topic or the fundamental is about Olympics, right? So whatever project you are making should be around Olympics itself, right? So for example, let's say tracking the progress of an athlete, right? Or let's say tracking why injuries happen, right? How injuries have been happening. So for that, you obviously need a data, right? You need a data set, right? And with that data, you'll do some analysis, you'll do some data science things on that, right? And once you are done with your analysis, then you have to basically show it on a web view, right? You have to show it on some browser. So this is how basically two things will actually uh, combine with each other, right? And when you are basically showing it on the web view, you cannot use uh, data science extensions like Streamlit or something like that. You have to make a proper project using either HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or either React or Angular Vue, whichever you are comfortable in. So this is about the entire hackathon, right? And if you want to understand more about it, you can basically go through that link, right? Someone will share the link in the chat about the Olympics link, right? But you have to combine two things together, two domains together. If your project does not have either of the domain, if you just make something on data analysis or something on web development, it will obviously be discarded, right? It won't be taken into consideration, because that is what the hackathon is all about, right? You have to, so the stakes are high, right? We are asking for a lot, right? Because everyone nowadays has some or the other idea of what data science is, what development is. If you're not not let's say if you're a beginner, not that pro enough, right, still you have an opportunity a month to learn both the domains, right? And not if both the domains, just find someone who knows either of the domain, right? Either development or either data science, which you do not know, and you can just combine with them and just make this project. But your idea should revolve around um, Olympics, right? So let's talk about ideation as well, right? So first we'll just go about ideation. But is this clear, everyone? People who are saying no, that we do not have any idea. Now, do you have an idea? Just put it in the chat whether yes or no. Or do you want us to elaborate more about it? UI, UX, you have to develop a UI, right? You have to develop a UI. You have to do that, obviously. So once you have your entire data, whatever you have, so uh, we'll give you a brief about that as well. That how do you create a connection between uh, your data science project, right? And how do you basically uh, create a a website out of the data science project, so that if someone basically comes to that website and searches for some let's say some Usain Bolt, right? Let's say I'll just give you an example for, okay. So someone is saying elaborate more. Let me just give you an example. Let's say I and Ashish have to I and Ashish have to participate into this hackathon. So Ashish is good with data science, right? He's good with all of his stuff, data analysis, right? He can do anything, right? He'll do analysis as well. And I am good at development. I can make projects in React and Next.js, and I can do whatever. So what is Ashish going to do? So let's say we decide a topic, right? Let's say so I'm talking about both ideation and about the hackathon as well, right? So let's say we decide a topic, and the topic is uh, let's say the journey of an athlete, right? How did Usain Bolt become Usain Bolt? We're just all analyzing his entire routine. And not only Usain Bolt, okay, any athlete for that sake, okay, any Indian athlete as well, let's say Mirabai as well, right? Or Mary Kom as well. Okay, any athlete basically has participated, right? Okay, Bajrang Punia, right? Geeta Fogart, Balpita Fogart, and just let's say we just want to analyze them. What was their strategy? How did they make it, right? So what we'll do is we'll basically first collect data about them, right? We'll collect data about them, and the data basically should have their routine, right? What was their daily routine, right? What was their daily diet, right? How many hours they used to put into practice, right? And from where did they start, right? And what was their journey, right? And let's say how many failures they saw, right? And from what type of injury they had, right? And then once we have this data, right? So what will Ashish do? Ashish will collect this data, and then we start analyzing the data, right? Analyzing the data is what analyzing the data basically means putting questions and then getting answers on it, right? So let's say who uh, who among all of these athletes, right, had a very, let's say, a rigorous routine, right? Rigorous routine means basically like getting up 4 a.m. in the morning or 3 a.m. in the morning, and then just crushing it throughout the day, like till 11 12 o'clock. Like this basically is like uh it's basically like a very rigorous unit, a very rigorous what to say day. I'm just hypothetically saying like 3 a.m. to at night, whatever it is, just consider the time. And then uh, and then once he has the data, okay, what he will do with the data, he will basically just send the data or give me the data in whichever format I require. Let's say if I require the data in the form of text, right? But generally we require the data in the form of an JSON. Right? Generally we require data in the form of JSON itself, right? So whatever data he's going to give me, I'll just store it in my database, somewhere in my database, or I can take, because raw data I cannot take from him, obviously, right? So I'll have to create an API. I have to use a database, obviously, right? So whatever data is going to give me, I'll push it into my database. So he'll obviously give me CSV file. We have done this before, right? Me and Ashish, we used to work at Geeks for Geeks. We have spent 1.5 years together, and we have collaboratively made such projects where he has sent me data in CSV file. right? And I've put that onto my database, and then I've got a JSON from that. Once I get a JSON from the data, I can do whatever I want to do, right? I can basically just click on any user, let's say on let's say on Usain Bolt, it could show me a graph, right? And then I could basically ask for what was his routine, how many injuries, right? Or the day or the lifetime of an athlete, right? Lifetime of an athlete. If I click on it, it could show me a graph, something like that, right? And how many trophies in which year, how many trophies did he win? So a graph, something like that, showing. So this is basically the entire project that you have to actually make, right? With data and then with the web view. Is this clear now, everyone? This I think Ashish would answer, right? Are we supposed to do it with the data set that you have given, or can we collect it from outside? I think you can collect it from outside as well, right? I think, uh, but I'm not sure about it, right? The answer can be no as well, right? I think that depends upon what the team has to decide, right? Ashish, can we do this? Can we collect data from outside, or we have
Yes.
to stick? Huh?
Yes. So the funda is, if I go back to where we have started, from the data set point of view. So in the data set only, we are having the basic details of the player. Okay. The matches from here, you can find, okay, what are all the players, based on the names of the player, you can find how many matches they have played. And based on that, we can find how many medals they have won and things like that. Along with that, if your team member or you know web scraping, so we are having the athlete URL for some of the players. If we are having the athlete URL and I can select any of player that I have selected and I go back to the page referring to that URL, here you can find more details about the player. What is the first Olympic game? What is the birth year? Okay. And Olympic results, if you go down here, we are having the text related to the player as well. So let's suppose if you want to make a website with UI where you can click on that player, you can get the details about that player as well. You can collect the data from there as well. It will require web scraping. Okay. So it's not like you are not supposed to do it. If you know, if you can do that as well. It will add more value into the project because this is something this is the data that you are not having. You are having the link, you are going to the link, you are scraping the data. So you can do these kind of stuff as well with the project. That's totally fine. Like for some of the players, we are having the links. Okay. If we are not having the link, we might not able to go here. Even if you reach here, some of the players are having an image. So you can also fetch the image from here and put it in your UI, in your project, right? This is not that something, this is something that is not there in the data set in the first go, but you can go to the link of the player and through that you can get these details. Okay, so there are a lot of things you can do. You can create a whole section where you are having all the Olympics game happen. You can go to that part, like you can make a drop down. You can select any Olympics and you can say which country has like played how many matches and how many goals they have won. So that's totally up to you how you are dealing with the things. I'm hoping I'm clear with the answer. Yes, for yes or no, or yes but no, or no but yes. Okay. Yes. So if you guys are having any doubt, you guys can ask. Okay. Priyanshu is saying, so you are basically have to build a website that web scrape the player's data and perform prediction based on the data. Okay. So that's just one option you can do that. Apart from that, there are a lot of things that you can do elsewhere as well. Okay. We are just discussing about the ideas. Okay. What are the things you can do? You can just take the data, plot some graphs so that you can, through the drop downs, you can select, and based on that, you can find, okay, which country has won the most number of things. You can make a pie chart and different kind of visualization. You can scrape the data from the internet through the links. Okay, you can scrape some other things about those players as well. Okay, you can create an API. Okay, you can go for some other website that they are providing the APIs, so that you can fetch the details on that, and like you can send the request for this particular player, and they can give you even more details about those players that Prakash sir has told you just now. Okay, so there are a lot of things that you can do for sure. Okay, can we take any other data set than this mentioned? Okay, so the core of the data set should remain kind of the same. Okay, but through this data set, whatever players data we are having, you can take some advantage on that. Like some of the links, players link we are not having. So to fetch those details, you can use some other method. That's totally up to you. Some of the details are obviously missing. They are not having the exact routine that they are following. Okay, or some other details that you might fetch about the players. So that is something you can definitely try with some other APIs the companies are providing. Okay. Okay, sir, do we need to make your own data set from the given link in the place? Yes, you can do that as well. It's totally up to you. Which kind of like data analysis point of view, what are the things you want to do? In terms of machine learning, which are the things you want to do? In terms of web development or UI point of view, what are the things that you can do? That's totally up to you. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Prakash, if I'm missing something, you can add.
Yeah. So see, the basic agenda over here is that the core fundamental should only remain Olympics, right? That is what the core fundamental is. Now, over here, we're not talking about you take the data of the players and then make something common only around the players, right? It was just an idea, an ideation. I'm not talking about that you have to make this project only, right? Because a lot of people, you are not understanding what we're actually doing. So that is just an ideation of what you can actually do. But come up with your own ideas, right? Your idea should totally revolve around Olympics, completely around Olympics, right? How a player can be more let's say more successful in Olympics, right? How you can do that, right? Or what steps a player should take in order to avoid failures based on previous data, right? Based on previous data of some or on some Olympians who have failed a lot, or Olympians who have been injured a lot, right? So how you can avoid injuries, what happened to previous Olympians, right? What made their career just go have a downslide, right? And how you can avoid it. So you have to come up with your ideas which completely revolve around Olympics, right? Now this is actually a very limited shell, and because we have just given you one single topic, right? And generally on all the hackathon, you just have themes, right? You have themes about development, you have themes about data science. We just can't give you any project that you can make. That is never possible, right? So this is one theme, but it's a very clustered theme, right? But that's the challenge that Geeks for Geeks always comes up with, right? And people have always outperformed us, right? With their ideas, they have always shown that they can come up with some or the other idea, right? And but the core fundamentals should only remain Olympics. That's about the ideation, right? I hope we are clear with this, right? Does anyone has any other questions? Any other question? Just please ask. Any other questions about the data set, right? So I think that has been completely cleared by Ashish, that you can add on, you can create your own data set as well.
And constraints are something that will encourage you to go with a simpler solution, right? So that's why we are adding these constraints. So for example, just talking about one of the use case, okay? Let's suppose if I'm talking about football game or basketball game, okay? How the height of the player is having a relation with the number of medals they have won. If there is any relation, right? This is just one use case I'm talking about. There are thousands of use cases based on different games. So you can take any use case and see how these things are related. Okay, how the performance of a player is having any relation with the age of the player. Right. So these are just some of the use cases, and you can add these things in your report, that final UI that you are making. Like what is the best stage of a player? What is the height that player should have for a specific game. What is the weight of the player that the player might have, the player might have to have the maximum chances. The same things, like you can try, like we have tried it on some other data set. For example, if a director want to make a movie that should be a blockbuster, what should be the genre of the movie? We have analyzed the top 250 movies in IMDb. Okay, and based on that, we have found, okay, what is the maximum percentage of movies are having in the top 250? Okay, and through this, you can say, okay, let's suppose the maximum chances are of drama. There are 50% movies. Let's suppose out of 250, we are having 50% movies which are of drama genre. So what you can do for a director to maximize the chances to be on the top 250, the chances are to make the drama movies. Just an example that I was taking from that use case, but here you need to try it in your own. Okay. And one question that we are having, can we do tweet sentiment analysis around the Olympics 2020? So that I think will be a bit simpler problem. So that's something that you can avoid, but you can add that thing also in the same project. That can be one of the part of the sub module in that project. Okay. So again, still, if anyone is having any question, can ask. So Ayush is saying, it's written the maximum entries allowed are 0 out of 20 submissions. Okay. So this is basically every time you are making a submission. So that's a step-by-step thing. Okay. Let's suppose you have made your first submission, and after that you have changed some of the things. Then you can make the second one. Then you have made the changes that you can make the third one. This is what like the number of submission means. The maximum you can go is 20. Okay, there is saying how we are going to link our website with the data science. Okay, Prakash, over to you.
Okay, so linking website with data science totally depends upon the data, right? So I'll give you an example. So Ashish and I were working on a project where he was doing web scraping, right? For that, he required some images, like I think somewhere around 5,000 images, right? And so I had to handle that. So what he did is he basically scraped a website, right? Got the data, right? Once he got the data, he gave me data in the form of an CSV file, right? So that is what you will always get, right? Once you once you have the data, you have the data in the form of a CSV file, right? And then you do the analysis on it. In the same way, once you get the data, whoever is your development person, you'll you'll send the CSV file. Once you have the CSV file, they basically can push the CSV file onto some database, either MongoDB or SQL, right? And once you have the data in the database, then you can get the data in any form using an API. You can get it in the form of JSON or text or something like that. So the connection between data science and development totally depends upon the CSV file, which your data science person is going to give you. And then when you get it, you just put it on your database, right? And then you create APIs to get all the data. That is all about it, right? Nothing too difficult or nothing too extra to do it. Only the data and put it on database. That's it.
Like just to give you a glimpse, that project currently I'm also having Prakash. So here you can see we are having a final.csv. In this CSV, we are having the name of the image, the link of the image, the categories, the genre, the number of people they have liked the image, and all the things. Okay. And here in images folder, we are having the path of the images. Here you can see we are having 200,000 images. Those are not just thousands. Those are more than 200,000 images. So this is the data that we are having linking with the final.csv. Now the CSV file is not of any use because we need to try to convert it in a JSON format. So we'll convert it in a JSON format. I'll give it to Prakash, and then Prakash has uploaded all these things along with the paths on the databases, and then you can proceed further with all the things. Okay. And from where these data set is collected, that is something I might not able to tell you at this point of time, but like as you proceed further in the databases, there are a different website you can collect this data from. Okay. And then you can go with the ideation process and things, how you can like plot these things and make the website out of these big size of data.
Great. Okay. Yeah, you will get recording of this meeting. Okay. Let's move ahead with the next topic, right? So the next topic basically would be how you can prepare for this hackathon, right? That is very, very important. How to prepare for the hackathon, right? So firstly is that participating in a hackathon or doing a hackathon, from a personal experience where I did one of the hackathon and I did it completely on my own. I didn't have anyone to do it with, right? So hackathon is not about just starting to write some codes, right? As Ashish told about the data and everything. So it's not that you have to just go and just start writing the code, right, and just get a data set and just do something, right? Hackathon, the code part is the secondary part. The first primary part is ideation, right? Now, as someone had written about the tweet sentimental analysis, and then Ashish promptly said that it's a very basic part, right? So you have to first analyze what your idea is. Is it too basic for an hackathon, right? Is it too so? Because it's a hackathon, right? It's where we expect something from you, right? And the stakes are high, where we're expecting a lot from you, right? Because this hackathon will actually help you a lot, right? Someone asked how to get in your favorite companies. Hackathon अच्छे से कर लो, hackathon जीत जाओ, company मिल जाएगा, Google, Amazon. Just bragging about it. But see, it's very important to first get an ideation, right? So the first part is like just you spend your days in just ideating, right? Take a pen, paper, you can come together with your group and just ideate about it, right? Check the pros and cons, right? Check loopholes also, right? Even if you're sometimes you just come up with a very good idea, but check the complexity, how complex the idea is, how complex the data set will become, right? I think the web part would be quite simpler, but the data science part would be quite difficult to create the data. That is where the entire ball game is, right? Once you have the data, you can make anything, right? Once Ashish gives me the data, I can do anything that I want, but making the data in itself is quite complex, right? That is the most complicated part in this entire hackathon, right? Because you have to basically think about how complicated your data set would be, right? How complicated your data set, what should be the structure of your data set, right? That is also very important. What should be the data structure, how it should look like, right? Should it be a nested array, nested objects, or something like that? So I have to think about all of these parts, right? Even when you have an idea, how complex it would be, to deploy the data set, to deploy the website, right? To deploy the backend as well. So first, at least spend the initial 2-3 days only in ideating, right? Check for different ideas, check if people have already made some projects like that, and get ideation from that. That is how ideation actually works, right? You basically go through different projects. You watch what people have done. Have people done anything in the hackathon related to Olympics, or people have made a project related to Olympics? Check that project. With that you can get your own idea that okay, we can do this as well. Once you have that ideation, right, then start with your project and take baby steps, right? Take step by step. Firstly, we in industries when we work, I'll just tell you how do we actually do it, right? And this everyone should follow. Okay, so there is something called as P0 features. P0 is basically something which is very important, something which is required, right? And then there are P1 features which are just additional, extra add-on, right? Like like a pop-up or something like that, an alert or something like that. So first focus on the important features, right? Just write it down. Which are the important features, right? Especially when it comes to the web. Now, this is the web part. Okay, data you got, and in data also just don't just add unnecessary data, right? Some data which you think is redundant and which is not relevant at all, which people will just overlook, do not add it, right? Just add data which is very important. And obviously you can then, once you have finished and then you have time, then you can also add that data. Make project dynamic in such a way that even if you add a new data, that will be handled by your existing web UI project, right? So think in that sense, right? Do not. So a lot of times what students actually do is they just create a data set and make a website according to that. But then if you have to add more things in your data set, then your website basically crashes or website fails. So you have to make your project such so proof enough that even if you keep on adding more data into the data set and push it onto the database, your existing UI will not break, your existing UI will not fail. So think about that also. That is another loophole that you have to think about. So first, think about what are the important features, what needs to be added, and then make your data according to that. Once you have the data, then start with the website. And even if you do not have the data, at least start with the website parallelly. You can create mock data, right? So as I told you, think about the data structure. Once you have the data structure, make some mock data, right? Couple of mock datas and start building your UI accordingly. So so things will parallelly work. Once both are done, then you can basically integrate them together, right? So that is how basically you plan and strategize everything, right? It's a month, right? Some people are quite serious about all of these things. Some people are not that serious, but people who are quite serious about all of these things, just plan your day accordingly, right? Do not overdo anything, right? Do not overdo anything. Do not let it affect your health, right? That is also very important when it comes to preparation, right? Because a lot of times you just keep on writing code. Some people are just crazy, like crazy coders, like Ashish. He codes every time. He just codes during the night also, right? उसने वो कोड एकदम seriously लिया कि I code in the dark. So you have to take care of your health as well, right? So that is all about the preparation strategy, right? And then coming to how do we expect, what are we expecting from you? We are expecting GitHub repository, right? For both the things, for the data science part as well and for the web part as well, right? We're expecting GitHub repositories, and we are also expecting a live link as well, right? Suppose obviously we want to see where your website is deployed, right? So you have to show us a live link as well to deploy the website. Now, where do you deploy the UI? If you want to deploy the website, you can use Netlify, right? You can use something called as Netlify. Just put it in the chat, right? Netlify. And this is for the front end part. And for the back end part, you can use Cyclic, right? To deploy. To add your data set, you can add it on Kaggle, right? If there are more, Ashish could actually tell you. GitHub.io, like for example, if you're using, I think JavaScript, HTML says JavaScript, then GitHub.io will also work. So there is something called as Git pages as well, right? Git pages, where you can deploy your front end as well, right? And but if you're using React, right, which will add brownie points if you use React. Okay, I will give it. Vercel, I think Vercel is paid now. I have I'm not sure about whether it's paid or not, but you have to check whether Vercel is paid or not, because what happens is that so a lot of times they basically give you like 100 requests in a day or 50 requests in a day, right? And then after that it is blocked, right? So it just should not happen during when we are checking it, that the time has elapsed and then we cannot check it, so that creates a problem. So something which is free for some time and then paid, do not use that. Something which is free forever, use that. Cyclic is free forever, right? You can use Cyclic and you can deploy, I think you can deploy by backend with Django and Node.js both with Cyclic. Okay. Yeah, Vercel has limited plans, right? It's complete. It's subscription based. Do not take something which is subscription based. It will affect your project at the end, right? Take something which is completely free. Cyclic is free for backend. Netlify is free for front end. You can deploy as many as you want, and they give you, I think, 1,000, 2,000 requests per day, which is good enough for good amount of time. Okay. Okay. So I think if we've covered most of the things. Ashish, if you want to add something, you can just add.
No, most of the things are clear. And main funda is to not use Streamlit or those kind of libraries which will help you to deploy. Will be discarded. If the project is having the domain of Olympics, make sure to revolve around Olympics. It's like if you want to go for a stall of burger, if you want to go for that. So your main focus should not be like how the stall will look, which kind of like in terms of UI, like which kind of products you are taking in and which kind of banners you are making. Your main funda, the first priority should be about the burger, how that tastes, how you are going to make that. So don't, like, your main funda should be, as Prakash I told you, the P is 0. version. Okay. And that is, I think, that's like everything, and we have covered everything. So I think we can wrap up the session, Prakash.
Yeah, well, let's just take a couple of questions from the chat, and then we'll wind it up in the next 5 minutes. Does anyone has any questions? I'm just going through the chat. Can we develop a mobile application? No, you cannot develop a mobile application. It's completely web-based and data science, so no web application. It is not PS0, it is P0.
Easier.
P0 is considered as important features, which features basically which are more important in the. So let me give you an example of an e-commerce website. So what are the important features of an e-commerce website? It is the product listing page, it is the filter, it is add to cart, the address page, and the payment page and the wishlist page. Right? Some additional features or auxiliary features could be showing an alert, right? Showing a pop-up like this. These are the discounts that we have, right? Showing some ads onto it. So these are some auxiliary features which are not that important.
P0s are the needs, P1
Yeah.
and so far are the wants.
Exactly. Can I choose AI, ML, or Java development? You have to choose. Okay, so this is a career related question, I think. Okay, ask hackathon related questions. Okay, why choose Olympic? Why did we choose Olympic as a theme? Because we are geeks for geeks. कुछ तो अलग ही करते हैं हम. So that's okay. Bas, jokes apart.
Because we can.
Yeah. Why not?
Because why not? Right.
Why not? Why not Olympics? So that's why we came with Olympics. For deployment, shall we use CI/CD? See, I think first you need to understand what CI/CD is, right? Continuous integration, continuous deployment, right? And so if you know that, if you're good with that, then do this. Okay. Does anyone has any questions related to the hackathon? Technical questions, okay? Do not ask questions about participation, certificates. We are very bad with all of these answers. कुछ गलत बोल देंगे हम दोनों, right? Can you take help from ChatGPT? You can take help from anywhere, but just not ask ChatGPT to make your entire project. उतना तो पकड़ ही लेंगे हम लोग, okay? Because we are actually going to go through the GitHub repository and see the code, and then there is a team, dedicated team, which will actually go through your GitHub repositories, right? So people who will think they can outsmart us, sorry, you cannot. So do not do that. Your efforts would be wasted, right? So do not do that. Okay. Anything related to the hackathon? Okay, cool. So I do not see any questions. So that's it from us. Thank you for being so patient with us. Thank you for interacting. You all made this session a very good session, and I hope we have cleared your doubts and made justice. In any case, I think if you want to connect with us, we can provide our LinkedIn as well. So Ashish, if you could add your LinkedIn in the chat.
Yeah, just give me a second.
So you all can connect with us on LinkedIn, right? And if you have any questions or something like that, you can just ask on LinkedIn as well, right? Ashish put your GitHub repository as well. So
Yeah.
we'll put our GitHub repositories as well. Our repositories has projects, so you can go through our repositories and get ideas about the projects as well. Okay, so there is Ashish's LinkedIn. Let me just copy and paste my LinkedIn as well, and put your GitHub repository as well.
I've done it, Prakash.
Okay. GitHub repository.
Okay, GitHub one. Sorry, my bad.
So there is my LinkedIn, as Ashish's LinkedIn, and we'll add our GitHub repositories as well. Ashish's GitHub repository has a lot of data sets. Mine will have a lot of projects with React, with HTML, CSS, and then और भी बहुत कुछ मिल जाएगा, बस अच्छे से देख लेना उसको बस.
In terms of visualizations, in terms of presentation, like a lot of data set, how you can even collect the data set. And in Prakash, with with GitHub, you'll get almost everything that is required.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's it from both of us. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.